Welcome to Techstination, and we're talking about Tamagotchi. It's been nearly 24 years since the first Tamagotchi digital pets arrived, creating one of the hottest toy fads of the 90s and into the 2000s. And of late, Bandai America is growing the franchise again with Tamagotchi on Wonder Garden. Joining us is Senior Director of Brand Strategy, Tara Badie. Thanks for joining us, Tara.
Thank you for having me.
Well, tell us what's new here with Tamagotchi on Wonder Garden.
Yeah, first of all, we launched Tamagotchi, which was the very first virtual pet that you can help raise and take care of back in '97. And we've come out with different versions. And last year we introduced the very first colored device for our Tamagotchi. It's still egg-shaped, just like we did in '97 with 3 buttons, but we've brought it a long way where you're now taking care of your Tamagotchi that's in color, just as if you're watching any video or every movie that you want to do. There's also the play and the raise. So you continue to raise your character, but what's different now is when they become an adult, you get to actually choose who they get to marry, and the next generation will actually be a combination of their parents. So it might have their dad's eyes, it might have their mom coloring, might have their dad's body, and you marry, there's all these different characters you're going to be able to create based on who you marry. So there's millions of characters that you can raise and take care of.
And places to go to, right?
Exactly. There's 8 different lands that you can go, besides your own town, there's 8 different lands that you're able to unlock in all of your play, whether it's the Tama farm or the hotel and, just the stargazing and things. So there's a lot of different towns that you can visit and see unique things and find new things and meet new people, because maybe you might want to become friends and marry them.
And when kids get to play with their friends, it really expands the gameplay too, right? When they can.
Correct. Yeah, the great thing about the Tama device is there's so much play in this device alone. The levels of play and all the different towns and the game, because you've got mini games in here to earn gotcha points and keep your character happy and things. But also, if you're with your friend in this time when we're all separated, but if you get to actually hang out with your friends and see them, you can actually take your character's device and they can go from one device to another. So, my friend here in my turquoise Wonder Garden, if that character Mamechi comes over to see my friend Kuchipachi over here, he can actually travel to different towns. They can go on play dates. Some of the things they do on their play dates crack me up. Sometimes they just do painting. Sometimes they're like wrestling. There's all these different things that the characters do. They just celebrate birthdays and celebrations, of course, like that. You can give and receive gifts, but then you can also travel with them and actually help unlock the different lands if you're not so lucky to have unlocked some. Your character is kind of locked. So that's a lot of play. And then there's also the app that allows another level of play overall. And you can meet up with your friends in the app. You can't communicate with them, but you can find your friend's character in the park.
And I'll whisper this so the kids don't hear, but parents, there are lessons they can learn from these too, right?
Yeah, there are definitely lessons. What's so important is teaching kids responsibility, and taking care of pets or anything is always something that's one of the biggest challenges in growing your kids up. And what you learn as a young child, and that responsibility is something that they take with us as we grow older, as we continue to learn, right? As we get older and older. So with this, you're literally raising. If you don't take care of it, if you don't feed it, it's gonna cry. If you don't clean up after it poops, if you don't bathe it, if you don't, do all these things, it will leave you and it will die, and you're gonna lose your character that you spent so much time. So this isn't a game that you can take and put it aside and not play with it. If you're not taking care of it, there are ways to, like, if you're in your second generation, you can send it off to the grandparents, or you can drop it off at daycare at the Tama Hotel so that it's always being taken care of. It doesn't sleep at night, so you don't worry about the sleeping hours. It'll go to sleep and it'll wake up on its own. So it's taking care of the night, so you don't, it won't disappear on you that way. Just to set the time correctly, though, because that could be a problem.
And parents should know that if it does die and the kids are crying or whatever, it's not bricked, right? It can be brought back.
Yes, there's a way to reset it, and there's different ways. Always we've got people that still communicate, and we find on social that are such big fans. Like, oh my gosh, I just found my Tama back from '97, and I put new batteries in, and it's working. So, whether, and some people didn't even know back then you could restart. Even if the character died, you could always restart and play again.
So With all the kids today having the smartphones and tablets and so much content on the big screen, why is this still so popular?
Because in the end of the day, the core play of it is nurturing and taking care of. And that's what, like, that doesn't change. The core play of how kids like to play is still this. I mean, they play differently, but what's at the core of that play pattern is the same, and it's nurturing and taking care of. But on top of that, the kids today, they might have a mobile device that they can play on, but usually it's shared. Not a lot of kids have their own devices. This is something that they can actually own and take care of. We also, for research, know that when they play with the game on a device, they're just playing a game. There's no emotional connection. When you're sitting here and you're raising Mamechi and you want to make sure he's happy and you like to see him jump up in joy, if you feed it the right food, it gets all excited. Those things you start that connection with, you have your real pets. And so because it's housed in this little Tamagotchi device, there's a little bit more connection to that than these devices that, it's just more of a game console or they have to share with their family. And this one they get to keep themselves.
So what should parents know about availability and pricing and good enough supplies for the holidays?
Yes, we definitely made sure that we have, hopefully, I mean, if it sells out, there's only so much I can do on that. But we have ordered above the requested inventory forecast that we have, just to make sure that we don't run out of inventory. But it is a suggested retail price of $59.99. It is available pretty much everywhere. You can go to Amazon, Target, Walmart.com, hobby stores. Pretty much every retailer store that you can think of is selling the product.
And kids, put it down while you're taking lessons over the computer. Some advice.
Yes, there is a pause. So there is a way to put your character at your grandparents' house or in the Tama Hotel during school hours, definitely.
Again, it's Bandai's Tamagotchi on Wonder Garden. Tara Badie, thank you so much for taking the time with us.
Thank you for having me. We appreciate it.
Cooking with the power of the sun. Hi, I'm Fred Fishkin, here to tell you about the latest innovation from my friend Patrick Sherwin and his great team at GoSun Stove. The GoSun Fusion has arrived using the company's tried and true reflectors and a solar vacuum tube to get you cooking without the mess of charcoal, heavy propane tanks, or smoke. A really bright idea. And with an optional solar panel and battery storage and the ability to plug in at home or on the road, you really can use the GoSun Fusion to cook anytime and anywhere, day or night, rain or shine. I love what Patrick and his team are doing, and so will you. Want to learn more? Head to gosun.co to check out all of the company's products and innovations, and use the code Techstination to save 10%. That's gosun.co.